Welcome back to Law Dogs. I'm Jeff Henley, your host, and with me as always is Annabelle. Now today we're going to take our first introduction at criminal law. When we're talking criminal law, we're talking about an individual versus the government. Whether it's the state government or the federal government, we're talking about an individual and the government. Not two individuals or companies who are private parties, but someone versus the state or the people. Criminal law is the area of the law that receives the most attention in our daily lives. For decades, Hollywood has flooded us with films and TV shows about cops and other good guys, and the gangsters, murderers, psychopaths, and bad guys they pursue. Writers, film, and TV producers have made billions of dollars telling and retelling stories of crime and punishment. Now, what is it that makes criminal law so interesting, so intriguing to all of us? First, it's what we call the actus reus. Comes from the Latin, and you heard act in there, so it means some kind of action. In the Latin, it means guilty act, actus reus. And at common law, what was required was some kind of movement. You had to have some kind of movement on behalf of the actor in order for there to be an actus reus. It could be punching somebody, it could be knifing somebody, it could be stabbing somebody, it could be kicking something, it could be taking something. Now with actus reus, we can be talking about very subtle moves. We can be talking about very sleights of hand.
舉個雙手，讓我睇你個手，認真。
But when we're talking about categories of actus reus, when we're talking about categories of acts, we're talking about largely two of them. Voluntary and involuntary acts. Now, a voluntary act is what we can imagine it to be. If I decide to go burn somebody's house down, I jump into my truck, drive over there with a book of matches and maybe some gasoline, and I strike a match and I let the thing on fire. In contrast, we also have involuntary actions. Actions that can be criminal even though somebody didn't necessarily have the same kind of intent. What are we talking about? Say I go to a bar and I drink 10 tequilas, maybe a Long Island iced tea, perhaps a couple of beers. Then I jump in my car and I drive and I kill somebody. Now, when I kill that person while I'm intoxicated, I didn't necessarily have the criminal mental state to do that act, but it is an involuntary movement because I'm operating the motor vehicle while intoxicated. Along with every bad act, though, comes the other essential ingredient. It's what often drives those mysteries we find so intriguing. It's what makes psychological thrillers so engaging. It's what makes villains so loathsome and repellent, but yet so fascinating and even attractive. What Latins call mens rea, or guilty mind. Sometimes we might say bad mind. We don't just have bad acts, but we have to have a guilty mind that puts those bad acts in motion. There has to be what criminals and judges call criminal intent. That is some awareness that they are either purposely doing a bad act or somehow aware of it. That is, the defendant, the actor we often call him, not one of these, but one of these, has to do something that corresponds with the act. Tune in for future episodes where we're going to go into much greater detail about all of the different culpable mental states and what exactly mens rea is. I'm Jeff Henley, your host, and with me as always has been Annabelle. We'll see you next time. Until then, you stay out of trouble or the law dogs will get you.